Well, managing all the natural areas in the Johnny Appleseed Metro Park District is not an easy job. And here to tell us about their job and what they do, we have two natural resource managers with the Park District. We have Smedley and we have Austin Roby. And thank you guys both for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Okay, so there's a lot of land to the parks, right? I mean, first of all, you guys are in charge of all those areas. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, we have over 1,500 acres of Park District land, and a good portion of that is natural areas. Over 300 acres of forest, again, over 300 acres of prairies, and then we're going to have about 40 acres of wetlands with a new project coming in. It's still going to be a little while, but next year it'll break ground, and then lots of ponds and 700 other acres that fall into various types that aren't easily classified. So lots of work for us to keep up with there.
Yeah, so Austin, like to someone like me and probably the rest of us, so we just look at those areas and it's like, oh, so beautiful, but you guys have that keen eye and you're like, hey, we see something in there. So tell us about how you look for things in those areas that aren't supposed to be there.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's a lot of that beautiful stuff that everybody sees that when we look at it, it's not so beautiful. We have to manage a lot for invasive species in those areas. So, just kind of through being here for a while, you learn what to look for. And sometimes it's pretty disheartening, really. And once we do find it, we have to take care of it. So there's several different ways. We mow it, we use herbicide, we use fire. Just depends on what the species is, but yeah, it keeps us busy.
So I mean, it's like trees and plants and flowers. I mean, that kind of thing. And do you even look for like insects and things? We stick mostly with vegetation, but yeah, it can be any of that. Some of the big examples that we deal with here at the park include the pear trees. So in the spring, all those white trees, the majority of them are no good. Exactly. Yeah. Other than that, we have the honeysuckle, which is another tree-like species. Some of the grasses that we deal with, like a reed canary grass, it looks like a tall green grass, but it's no good as well. Yeah, do you have anything to add?
Garlic mustard would be a big problem in the woodlands. It gets a nice white flower on it, but it outcompetes all of our native spring woodland wildflowers. So we don't want to let that one stay here either.
Wow, so that's kind of fascinating, the things that we enjoy. Wow, it's not really great. So you also kind of try to monitor wildlife too? Tell us more about that.
A lot of keeping track of the vegetation, it just is a matter of walking through the habitats on a regular basis and seeing what is growing there, making sure things are still in good health of what we want growing there, just taking a lot of notes. We can also utilize the iNaturalist app a lot, whether we use it ourselves or park patrons. We can see what they're uploading and keep track of some things that way. That way, if we can't get into an area, we do have help from the public. And then we do have some specific programs set up, like monitoring bluebird trails, where we get volunteers involved, purple martin houses, things like that. And Austin also has a deer survey he's working on.
We started a deer survey this year just to kind of get an idea as to roughly how many deer we have in a park. Now, you're never going to know for sure, but we're taking educated guesses, I guess. That's the best way to put it. So yeah, it's been interesting.
Yeah. Okay, and one of the big stories recently, and I think that is most visible to people, is that oak wilt problem that you had in Herman Woodlands. Let's talk more about that.
Yeah, that was pretty high publicity, wasn't it? We had roughly 7 acres at Herman Woodlands on that north side that got affected with oak wilt, and we won't get into specifics of oak wilt, but it's a fungus that is basically 100% lethal to the oak trees, especially red oak species. So basically what we did was we removed those affected trees to limit the spread. And then you have to do something with all that. As you can imagine, 7 acres is a lot of trees to remove. So we burned it, and now we're constantly monitoring that area to keep some of the invasives we referred to earlier out. So, which that has, it's been keeping us pretty busy.
Right.
And
I mean,
we're also,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ann.
we're also checking the area just to make sure we don't have a recurrence of the oak wilt, and we will be getting some plantings put back in to fill the area in as well.
Right. I mean, once you guys, you know, quote unquote, get rid of it, you still have to monitor, and there's just so much to it that, you know, I think it's fascinating because we don't understand all the work that goes into it to make our parks the best they can be and to make them look good for us to enjoy.
Yep, we're constantly out there.
No lack of job security here.
But I assume it's jobs you guys love. I mean, this is just something that you like to do to, you know, to go out and find these things.
Absolutely. Being able to be outside and experiencing all the beauty throughout the various seasons, and, you know, just looking at a project that we've worked on and knowing that it's going in the right direction and it's making it nicer for everybody to come see is a very rewarding end of the day.
Very awesome stuff. Ann and Austin, thank you very much for sharing what you guys do for our parks.
Thank you for having us on.
All right, don't go away. New Edition continues in a moment.